Hello guys, welcome again. Now, after knowing the valences of the elements, you can now know how to write the formula of a compound. But before that, we must know what is a compound. And after knowing what is a compound, when do we have two elements that are chemically combined in a compound? For example, if you are told sodium chloride, what does it mean? When you are told sodium sulfate, what does it mean? So in this class, we're going to study on the compound, but specifically made up of two elements that are chemically combined. Now I'm going to start with what is a compound. What is a compound? What is a compound? Is a pure substance. A compound is a pure substance made up of two or more elements which are chemically combined. So what's a compound? It's a pure substance made up of two or more elements which are chemically combined. For example, if you have a mixture of iron and sulfur, you can separate iron by use of a magnet. But when you mix iron and sulfur and heat it, it's going to combine chemically to form a compound known as iron 2 sulfur. So you're not going to use a magnet again to separate it because it has already chemically combined. So when a compound's name ends, very important, with IDE. When a compound's name ends with IDE, then what does it mean? Then we have two elements. When a compound's name ends with IDE, then we have two elements only which are chemically combined. When a compound's name ends with IDE. After that, we are going now to see what elements, for example, we're going to see examples. For example, we're going to start with the common one that we usually use at home. That is a food additive that we use at home. Common table salts. That is sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is made up of two elements that are chemically combined. Why? Because its name ends with IDE. So if you want to know that a compound's name is made up of two elements, you see the ending. If it ends with IDE, then we have two elements that are chemically combined. Looking at sodium chloride, it means we have two elements that are chemically combined. Which one and which one? This will help you to write the formula. So in sodium chloride, we have sodium that is present, and we have chlorine, the element. So we have two elements that are chemically combined. And how do we write the formula of the compound? So it means that, now a conclusion, that when a substance or a compound's name ends with IDE, it therefore means that we have an element that is chemically combined. So for example, in sodium chloride, we have sodium and chlorine. That's why we have the name sodium chloride. And then how are we going to write the formula of this compound? So sodium chloride is sodium, valency 1, Sodium is, in our last class, we discussed about the valency of elements. Sodium loses one electron, therefore it's in valence 1. And chlorine gains one electron because it's number 17, 2 is to 8 is to 7, therefore it gains one electron. So therefore it's also in valence 1. We also wrote it in nonmetals in our last class that we discussed. So the formula, we're going to exchange the radicals. We exchange the radicals. Looking here, if we exchange the radicals, they come here below, and below here, one will come here, and this one will go there. It has no effect. So the formula of sodium chloride is 1, 1. So the formula of sodium chloride will be NaCl. NaCl. That is formula of common table salts that we usually use at home. So we are going to have another compound that has 2 elements. So I'm going to write another one. Let's write magnesium nitride. Magnesium nitride. Magnesium nitride. So it means that we have, it ends with IDE. And if it ends with IDE, it means we have only 2 elements that are chemically combined. So magnesium nitride contains what now? Magnesium and nitrogen. Only. So it's Mg. The compound here is made up of 2 elements because it ends with IDE. So we have magnesium and nitrogen. Writing the formula, Mg. Magnesium is number 12, atomic number 12, and it loses 2 electrons and is in valence 2. We discussed valence in our last class. And nitrogen is number 7, 2 is to 5, and it gains 3 electrons. So it's N valence 3. Exchanging the valences, therefore, it will be 3 will come in magnesium and 2 will come to nitrogen. Therefore, the formula of magnesium nitride will be Mg. The valency of nitrogen comes to magnesium below. And the valency we are exchanging the valency. And the valency of magnesium 2 comes to nitrogen. So the formula of magnesium nitride is MgN2. That's the formula of magnesium nitride. 10. We are going to show me a sign which is going to be. So we're going to see another one very fast. Now we're going to be very fast. Potassium. For example, we have a potassium iodide. Potassium iodide, which when you mix with lead nitrate, you form a yellow precipitate. We'll come to salts. We'll discuss that. So potassium iodide is potassium valence 1, iodine valence 1. So the formula of potassium iodide is Ki. Let's have another one. Zinc bromide. Zinc bromide. Zinc bromide. What's the formula of zinc bromide? Zinc bromide, zinc valence 2, bromine valence 1. So exchanging the valences, one comes here, 2 goes there. So zinc bromide is Zn. We usually exchange the valences, Br2. Br2. Another one, we have potassium oxide. Potassium oxide. Potassium is in valency 1 because it loses 1 electron, and we discussed valency. And oxide, it means that we have 2 elements. And in bromide, remember, it ends with IDE, therefore we have 2 elements, zinc and bromine. And in potassium oxide, IDE, we have potassium and oxygen. So potassium valence 1, oxygen valence 2. Finding the formula, therefore it will be K exchanging, 2 will come here, 1 will go there. So the formula of potassium oxide, K2O. That is the formula of potassium oxide. What else? We have many compounds made up of 2 elements. We have iron and iron 2 sulfide, for example. Fine. Now, when we have brackets in a compound's name, we have brackets in a compound's name, it means that is the valency of that compound. For example, iron 2 sulfide, it means iron is in valency 2. So 2, iron valency 2. Iron valency 2 ni sawa, endelea. Endelea tu sawa. Iron 2, iron is in valency 2. Oxygen is in valency oxygen, but iron 2 sulfide contains iron and sulfur, so iron is in valency 2, sulfur is in valency 2. Therefore, the formula of the compound of iron 2 sulfide is Fes, because when we have valencies that are the same, we simplify here 1, here 1, and when we exchange, the formula becomes Fes. Let's look at another one that is common, carbon 4 oxide. Carbon 4 oxide. Carbon 4 oxide. Carbon 4. Carbon 4. Carbon 4. So carbon is in valency 4. Carbon valency 4. Oxygen valency 2. Now this rule, listen to this rule. If you have gotten the valencies, carbon 4 oxide, it means we have two elements, carbon and oxygen, ideally. Now if you have the valencies and they can be simplified, do so before exchanging them. Do so before exchanging them so that you can know the correct formula of the compound. For example, carbon is in valency 4 because of the Roman numbers in brackets, and oxygen is in valency 2. So simplifying, it's here 1 goes here, 2. Now therefore 2 is here, 1 is here, so 1 comes here, 2 goes to oxygen. So the formula of carbon 4 oxide is CO2. Another one, we have nitrogen 1 oxide. Nitrogen 1 oxide. It means we have two elements because it ends with IDE. So which are nitrogen and oxygen. Therefore, nitrogen, we take the valency that were given in brackets. Nitrogen valency 1, oxygen valency 2. Therefore, the formula exchanging, we said when you are exchanging, we can see before we exchange, look, can it be simplified? No. If it cannot be simplified, therefore, we exchange. So 1 comes here as a subscript of oxygen, and 2 comes here as a subscript of nitrogen. Therefore, the formula of nitrogen 1 oxide is N2 of N2O. N2. We have nitrogen 1 oxide. Let's do phosphorus. Phosphorus 3, or let's do 5 oxide, because it ends with IDE. We have phosphorus and oxygen. So phosphorus 5 oxide is P valency 5 because of the 5 valency, and oxygen valency 2 because it gains 2 electrons. So therefore, exchanging, can it be simplified? No. That's what you ask yourself first. If it cannot be simplified, we exchange. 2 comes here as a subscript of phosphorus, and 5 comes here as a subscript of oxygen. So the formula of phosphorus 5 oxide is P2O5. We have many of the compounds, many of them, but this will guide you, just a guide to help you know. When a substance name ends with IDE, we have two elements that are chemically combined. What else should I do? Let me do, for example, sulfur 4 oxide, and I'll do aluminum chloride, sulfur 4 oxide. So let me do sulfur 6 oxide, and aluminum chloride, so that I finish. So sulfur 6 oxide is sulfur valency 6 because of the 6 in the brackets, the Roman number. So sulfur valency 6, oxygen valency 2. We have two elements because it ends with IDE. So sulfur 6 oxide, so it means it contains sulfur and oxygen. So looking at the valencies of this element in the superscript, we ask yourself, can they be simplified? Yes. So you simplify first before exchanging. Here 1 goes here 3. Therefore, you can do it in your head, because these things I'm just showing for those who don't know how to. But you can do it in your head. Sulfur, valence 6. Oxygen 2. We are 1 goes here 3. So exchanging them is SO3. And it's just simple. So it is SO3. That is the formula of sulfur 4 oxide. Finally, I do aluminium chloride. Aluminium chloride. Aluminium is 2:8:3, number 13. Aluminium chloride. So aluminium is in valence 3, 2:8:3, loses 3 electrons. Therefore, it contains aluminium and chlorine because it ends with IDE. Therefore, aluminium Al valence 3, chlorine Cl valence 1 because it gains 1. So exchanging, 1 comes as a subscript and 3 comes as a subscript of chlorine. So therefore the formula is AlCl3. That's the formula of aluminium chloride. Thank you. In our last class, we are going to look at compound's name, where the compound's name ends with ATE or ITE. Thank you.